If you have tennis elbow and you want to really get rid of your tennis elbow, I'm going to share with you 5 exercises that actually work to get rid of your tennis elbow. My name is Huang. I'm an occupational therapist and certified hand therapist, and I help people with hand and arm injuries. Now, I was going to say you're going to have to edit this part. Now, I know you might have seen a lot of things out there about what exercises. I'm going to share with you my 5. And of course, one of the things that I believe in the order which you do things do make a difference. And so if an exercise doesn't work, it's not necessarily that it doesn't work. Maybe you have to do it in a particular order. So, and it can vary based off of, what's going on with your body. So I'm going to share with you 5, and then I'm going to show you what they look like. So my first one that I do with my patients is I do an isometric internal or external rotation exercise. I will work to loosen up the serratus anterior muscle. Number 3, then I will advance into a banded or with weights internal or external rotation exercise. I work the triceps, and then I do some shoulder extension. So let me show you what that can particularly look like. So internal and external rotation, you can do it. When it comes to internal and external rotation, you can do it with your arms by your side. And this is internal rotation coming into your body, and this is external rotation going out of your body. Now you can do it with your arms by your side. That's the easiest exercise. And then advanced exercise is when the arm is away from their body and you're doing external rotation or internal rotation. Isometric just means that you're pushing, but you don't actually see the movement, but you're working the muscle's contracting. So I always like to try to find a corner. I'm trying to find a corner for you. And when you are pulling in or you're pushing out, let me show you external rotation. So I'm going to show you with my left arm. External rotation, your arm is by your side, your shoulders are relaxed, and you're going to push the wall away, right? So it looks like you're pushing this way, but you are pushing the wall away. Now to do internal rotation, you would just turn and pull it towards you, right? So the wall's here, you pull it towards you. The key thing here is to give what we call sub-maximal effort. So don't give it your full effort, just like half-ass your exercise, usually about 50 to 75%. And the key thing is you want to make sure that your wrist is straight, and that's an isometric. And the reason why that one is so important without the movement is because you're trying to retrain your brain and your body how to actually engage some shoulder muscles instead of always using the muscles over here, which is why you have tennis elbow. Let's move on to the next one. When it comes to the serratus anterior, you're gonna see a lot of people work out and they're gonna be like, yeah, you can do this and move your shoulder blade. Look, majority of people don't know how to do that, have a really hard time doing that. What does this particular muscle, serratus anterior, do? It helps your shoulder to go forward and to go back. And a lot of times, if you take a look, right, you do this in front of the mirror, if you bring your arms forward and you pull them back, your shoulder blade should be able to go forward and move back, right? And a lot of times people get stuck. Their shoulder blades don't move as much as they think it should move, or they don't even realize it's supposed to move that way. I can tell you, every single time I work with someone with tendonitis, they don't know how to do this. But let me show you. I like to do it on a foam roller. Normally I do this on the floor, but for the purposes of the YouTube video, I'm gonna climb on my mat, right? And you want that foam roller to sit right along your spine. So parallel to your spine, so your shoulder blades are are like on the sides of it. So when you go and you move it, your shoulder blade has room to move. So let me see. So you're gonna sit on one end, your head on the other end. Bend your knees so that you can stabilize yourself on the foam roller, right? If you have this big old gape right there, you want to press it down. So you're gonna tilt your pelvis down, put your back straight, belly button in, right? Hands, elbows straight, hands over your shoulder. With both hands, I like to do it. You're going to pull up and pull down. You're taking your shoulder blade and you're squeezing that foam roller. Pull up and pull down. Whoops. You're gonna do that to loosen it up. We haven't even talked about strengthening it yet. You can do that same movement and you can hold a little bit of weight. The key thing is sometimes your serratus anterior doesn't move really well, and so if you strengthen it, muscles only get long and only get short. So if your muscle is really tight and it's only moving like it's not moving that well, when you strengthen, it's only gonna move that much as well. So you sort of have to make sure that that muscle moves all the way. It's probably one of the hardest exercises to do on your own. And if you have a trusted therapist, go to them and, you know, mention this video if you want. But yeah, it's one of the things I like to work on to make sure that shoulder is moving, because when the shoulder moves well, it supports the elbow. And this is why when you have tennis elbow, you can't just do like wrist curls and stretches and things that are right here at the elbow. The muscles of the elbow start in the shoulder and then move down and cross the elbow. And then the muscles that move your wrists and fingers start in the elbow and move your wrists and fingers. And what happens there is that everyone gets stuck doing and working on the muscles that start at the elbow, but we can't forget about the muscles that started in the shoulder that ended past the elbow. So it really just comes back down to anatomy. Serratus anterior, really good one, hard to do on your own, but I just want to share it anyway. And then once you get that moving, then I like to do either banded or weights with internal and external rotation. So let me show you what that looks like. When it comes to banded, I'm just gonna show you banded internal and external rotation, because so much about it is about doing it correctly. See so many people doing it wrong. So one of the things that you want to do is you want to make sure that your arm is by your side. Your elbow needs to be at 90. So when you pull out into external rotation, you want to maintain that 90. If you're pulling it into internal rotation, you also want to remain your elbow at 90. If it starts pulling down like this, you see I'm not at 90, or if I'm pulling it out and it's down like this or it's up like this, it's no longer at 90. Now you are no longer working the muscles that you really need to work in order to make sure your tendonitis pain at your elbow goes away. So doing the exercises correctly is really key. When you use bands, you can tie, like, see, this is what I do for my patients. I tie a little loop. You don't even have to buy some fancy, you know, hand things. But making sure you're not overly gripping your band is gonna be really important to make sure you don't irritate the muscles of your elbow. So you can, one way I show people is put the band in your hand and then wrap around so that it crisscrosses, so it holds it. And so you can gently hold it, but without like having a death grip, all right? Or you just put a little loop in here, all right? So if you're doing internal rotation, you're gonna step away from the wall so that your arm starts out here. And with your wrist straight, your wrist needs to be straight, you're gonna pull it into the middle of your belly and then slowly come out. When you're doing banded exercises, the rubber band just pulls. Not doing it right, it's not gonna fix your shit. So make sure you're going nice and slow, okay? Let me show you what external rotation looks like. So if I'm working on my right arm, I'm gonna have to turn and get my back to you, right? But let me show you on this one so you can see. My arm is by my side. I can loop it through so I don't have to hold so hard, and then I can pull out like this. See how I keep my 90 degree? Keep my wrist straight. If your wrist curls out when you move your shoulder, that means your shoulder is weak, and that's why you have tennis elbow. So you gotta do your exercises correctly. It's very, very key to getting rid of tennis elbow. So I showed you isometric internal or external rotation. I usually work towards ease versus restriction. I usually work towards the easier exercises first, because I do believe the order in which you exercise makes a difference. I loosen up your serratus anterior, and then you can move to banded or weighted exercises. Now I believe working your triceps, I know it tends to actually be weaker because we do everything in our lives. We're like, you know, even when you're trying to not carry things in your hand, you're gonna put stuff on your forearm, and now you're overworking your biceps, which can irritate your tennis elbow. So I like to do tricep extensions. Now, if you did it with bands, arms by your side, pull straight down. So the key thing is you wanna make sure you're stabilizing your shoulder and moving only your elbow. You wanna go through the full motion. Now that's just one way that I like to do it. Another way is with weights, and you could lean forward and pull it back like that. If you have tennis elbow, your shoulder probably isn't as stable as it needs to be, so I tend to avoid the tricep extension where the shoulder is really involved until I start fixing my shoulders, and then I can move into that exercise. There is an order to the different exercise. You wouldn't just go into the hardest form of exercise and then you know, kind of like get it wrong and not have, and like not do the exercises well, because then it just won't get rid of your tennis elbow pain, and that's what we're here for, right? Getting rid of our tennis elbow. So triceps are a really good exercise I like to do to make sure that the shoulder blade and the shoulder supports how my elbow works, so it can work without pain. Now the reason why triceps are important is because they shorten your shoulder blade and they end right past here. The tendons go right back here, and it really does support your elbow and can help you with your tennis elbow pain. Don't forget your triceps. Now the next thing I like to do is shoulder extension. Now you could do this laying on your belly, right? Laying on your belly and going into what we call shoulder extension. So that's shoulder extension. Or you could do it on a band. I'm just showing you bands because they're easier. There's like 1,000,001 ways to do the same exercise. And I think that it just depends on your body type. If you're able to go on your belly, I love exercises that are going on your belly, and then you can advance those as you get better. But if it's not so convenient, or you can't go on your belly as much, then bands are a really good way of doing it. Plus bands, you can go anywhere with it. All right, so bands, I like to loop my hands here like this. And then the key thing here is to make sure when you go into shoulder extension, right? Look at my elbows. Look at my elbows. This is what I have to tell my patients all the time when I'm doing it. Look at your elbows, right? Keep them straight. When you move your shoulder blade has to come with you. Your shoulder blade has to come with you. If you're moving this bone, but you're not moving your shoulder blade with it, then you don't have full, like really good shoulder extension. And then you gotta make sure your elbow stays straight, right? And this is why I do triceps, because shoulder extension requires your triceps. And all of that done correctly can really help get rid of your tennis elbow pain. Let me know if you have any questions below. Leave the comments, and all my links are there if you need me.